All right, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We're really excited that everyone is here. We're excited to celebrate this. So we have a few speakers for you. After the speakers, we're going to hold a ribbon cutting ceremony on that side. If everyone wants to be behind the ribbon for a picture, that's fine, but we're going to move to that side. Jenny Welch is going to cut the ribbon, and then she's going to lead a few cars across the overpass. So I would like to introduce you to our first speaker, Mayor Bob Courtney.
Welcome again. It's great to see everyone. What a great day, right, to celebrate the momentous infrastructure improvement that's been going on here. Got a few remarks I'd like to share with you today. First, I would like to thank all the community leaders who have made this day possible. It's great to see so many of you here today. I'm grateful for the support of then Governor and now Vice President Mike Pence, Governor Eric Holcomb, Lieutenant Governor Suzanne Crouch, Congressman Greg Pence, who actually was here on Monday, unfortunately couldn't be here today, our NDOT partners, Commissioner Greg McGinnis, Kathy Eaton McCallop, and Tony McClellan, and Kyle Beatty of Beatty Construction, as well as all of the design and engineering firms, and especially the construction workers, all of whom have played a critical role in the new bridge and now the new approach. I would be remiss if I did not thank all of the residents of the area, particularly those in the heart of the construction zone, who have endured a lot of inconvenience so we can stand here today. I appreciate your patience. I've also committed to honor the legacy of Mayor Damon Welch and finish the work that he and his team started. Andrew, I'm sure it's great to see you here today because you were part of that team, an invaluable member of Mayor Welch's team. Mayor Welch's vision for a safer approach became a reality today. I wish he were here to see this. Nearly a century ago, the concrete was poured to build the bridge over the Ohio River connecting these two states. The bridge has been a major catalyst for economic growth and tourism in our region. I'm grateful for the vision and dedication of my predecessors, as well as the support of State Reps Terry Gooden, Randy Fry, and Jim Lucas, as well as all the city and county leadership who have all worked to improve our community. Many of them are here today, so I'd like to give all of them a round of applause too. As we spend the next few months finalizing the bridge approach construction, we will now turn our attention to redesigning Main Street, a new long-term endeavor that will further promote economic development, modernize traffic safety, and further enhance our quality of life in Madison. I'm grateful to have been handed this baton and look forward to continuing to serve the city of Madison. Thank you. Mayor Huntington.
Thank you, Mayor Courtney. Mayor Courtney, would it be inappropriate if I asked you to hold my notes for me and flip them forward about? I'm just kidding.
I would do it.
I had to do it for several
I'm
mayors,
a public
but there's
servant.
no damn reason I should expect you to do it. That's okay. I could ask you, Dan Datillo, but I didn't, and now I've broken the microphone. Better than breaking the camera. Today's a great day to celebrate the opening of this wonderful gateway to Madison and the great state of Indiana. This is such a thrill to see this happen, and it was a great idea. Certainly, Mayor Welch was one of the leaders in that, and he had a lot of support for it as well. So I am going to kind of be flipping through this. If you were little and had stories read to you when you went to bed, they'll be kind of like that. So if you want to just doze off, go ahead. I don't care. I read it to my wife. She's still asleep. She was asleep when I left. So it is amazing that the positive impact this has had on our community. First of all, I think just in the fact that after waiting all these years, the community saw something get done. You know, they knew that all those trips when we talked about, well, we'd been to Indianapolis to NDOT, or Tim had been out in Washington, but all these different places, and they didn't see anything. And suddenly they saw something, and I think they started to believe that, you know, hey, these people are for real. And so from that standpoint, I'm happy. The other thing, you know, when you ride across the bridge, because I remember when it was, I'm sure most of you, very narrow and really pretty dangerous. And Sunday I rode across there, heading to Dairy Queen. I go over there usually about every day of the week, And so I've gotten pretty used to where everything is as you cross. But it's so wide now, and so, I mean, you can meet a truck. You don't have to hold your breath and cover your eyes like this. I mean, you don't get hit. It's just great. So, and I think an even better thing is, and I know this is really the good part of it, it's not just for the tourists that come and visit, because it'll be great for them, but it's also for our friends in Milton and Trimble County and Carroll County, because they are a part of us. And when it really came forward was when we started having bridge meetings. And people would, maybe some from here were there, others were from over there were there, and they got real contentious. And I remember one night over in the Bedford school, some guy got up in Trimble County and says, "We don't need you people." And I thought, oh man, that's the last thing we need, because in 1995, this bridge was rehabbed. It was a $12 million project. It was supposed to last several years, and it actually did pretty well. But during that time, the bridge was actually closed. So I had, like, does anybody remember Jim Willett from Kroger's? It was a manager of Kroger's. I had Jim Willett calling me about every day saying, "When are they going to open that bridge up? I'm going to lose my job if we can't get more business up here." I said, "Jim, we're doing the best we can." But it was very inconvenient. And as I said, the only people's business that I know of that went up during that time was Filling Station Liquors. They sold so much beer because people were waiting in line to get across the bridge, and it was so hot. So I think they were probably glad it was closed, but they were about the only ones. So and I was going to tell it really quickly. In 1994, I took over from Morris Woodman as mayor. And one of the first things I wanted to do was go to Indianapolis, meet with the people at INDOT. So I made a trip up there, and well, I was really proud. Had my business cards and all that. And I went in and I got assigned to a deputy commissioner. So she and I sat down. We had a nice exchange and so on. And I said, "I'm up here about the bridge." She said, "Well, you don't have a bridge." I said, "Yeah, we have a bridge." No, you don't have a bridge." I said, "Yes, we do." She said, "Well, I'm sorry, but you don't." I said, "Well, you go check." So she came back. She said, "No, you don't have a bridge." I said, "Well, there's a bridge in Madison. I don't know whose it is. It's not ours." And she went back and looked. She said, "Well, actually, that's Kentucky's bridge." She said, "They own that bridge. You don't own that bridge." I said, "Well, we use it as much or more than they do, and we need some help." So what was ended up resulting from that, after a couple, 3 more visits, I went up to INDOT a lot. After 3 or 4 more visits, I got to meet the commissioner at that time. Found out he liked to ride bicycles. So I invited him to come down and visit Madison for the Chautauqua, bring his bicycle. So he and his wife came down, they stayed out at Clifty, and they rode their bikes. And on on Saturday, he tried to ride on the bridge with all those cars coming across the bridge. And I was down at the Chautauqua, and I heard somebody say, Mayor Huntington, over here." And I looked over, and it was him. I went, he says, "Boy, you all need a bridge." He said, "It's not safe out there." And I thought, yeah, we did it. So at least we scored a point with him, and from there it fortunately got better, and then it came time to take bids for the bridge. And we had worked hard on Governor Daniels too. And I will tell you, he had been a true friend to us in a lot of ways. He came down here a number of times for industry. He came down here for events. He was really good about it. So anyway, they took the bids for the bridge, and I think it was like maybe 130 million or something like that. And they were going to have to close it for 365 days, which they figured it was going to cost our community probably a loss in revenue of about $65 million. Well, Governor Daniels saw that. He got that information. I didn't even have to give it to him. He already had that information. What he did was he took the bids and he sent them back over to INDOT with a note on them and said, "You people can do better than this. That community can't stand to be shut down for 365 days." Well, they did do better. They got with Walsh Construction, they got the slide worked out, and of course in the slide, not only did it work, it made us famous. We got all kinds of TV exposure out of it. But I did have to laugh because I had a lot of guys, there was a lot of Monday morning quarterbacks in town, and actually they're quarterbacks every day of the week. they would tell me, you know, when they slide that bridge over, it's just going to go on and fall in the river. No, I don't think so. Yeah, it is. You just wait, boy. You just wait. Well, they slid. It didn't. Obviously, it was a huge success, and we go on from there. We had a lot of help on this with folks from Kentucky. They wanted the bridge very bad, actually. Their leadership did. And I don't want to leave anybody else, so I wrote down some names here that I am going to read. Tim, did you get my notes? What'd you do with them? That's two of them. Rick Rand, who was a representative at the time from Kentucky. Judge Jack Couch, Trimble County Executive Judge Jack Couch, who was fantastic. His one goal in office, he wanted to help people in Trimble County, but he used to tell me, and Tim and I shared later, he told Tim the same thing. We've got to have that bridge for Trimble County. We've got to have it. So he really worked hard on it, and after he went out of office, he went to work for KIPTA, which is kind of the Kentucky roads group in Kentucky. He was over all of it. And really, he just had a huge input. And I appreciate that. The other thing I appreciate was all the people in the community that did hang in with us. And then I think maybe Tim, when you were in, and I know when Damon was, they started having committees to meet to talk about where the bridge might go and so on. And so many people from Madison, especially from this area, participated in that. And I was happy to see it because, you know, so many times somebody stands up and says, I'm the expert from Indianapolis, and this is the way we're going to do it. They didn't do that here, and that worked out well, and I think the acceptance was much better. Just very quickly, there was always a lot of discussion about where will the bridge be, and everybody had different ideas. The foot of Jefferson Street, that argument was continual. Well, that's why they made that street so wide. Well, that street was made long before Jefferson Street ever went where the river did. Foot of Jefferson Street, foot of Broadway, east of town, east of Milton. And it would be interesting because when those would get out, then we had property owners calling from over there saying, say, you know, I'm sure that bridge might go east of town. I got a place east of town. My farm wouldn't be in the way with it. I said, I don't have any idea whether it does or not. But the rumors were really flying about where the bridge was going to be. Madison is an all-welcoming, beautiful community. I think one of the most beautiful sights I see is when I come down the Milton Hill and look back over toward Madison. It's nestled here in the hills, and it's absolutely beautiful. And that's part of what people see when they come to our community on 421. So they're getting a good view before they get here. Then they come down, they come across the bridge, they come up, and then obviously they're going to go, I guess, up here. I'm going to have to drive it a few times before I'll know, but they're going to go up here. So anyway, it is really great. It's huge, and you know, that bridge. You talked about how old that bridge was, I think. Did you mention that?
Almost a century old.
Almost. I wasn't listening to you, but I did hear that. Yeah. Anyway, that bridge it was built in 1929, I thought, but anyway, it is really old, and it's lasted generations. And when I look at this is infrastructure, obviously. It's infrastructure for tourism. It's infrastructure for jobs. Which includes economic development. That's what the infrastructure is really for. But when I look at that and I see all of that infrastructure, it's going to last for generations and generations and generations. And there isn't any reason that our community can't thrive when we have a complex like this when you come into our city. Thank you all very much. You can wake up now. Thank you. Good afternoon, Mayor Courtney, Mayor Huntington, Miss Welch family, elected officials, citizens, NDOT officials. Thank you for allowing me to be here today. It's an honor as a former mayor, and actually I was here when the construction took place. But as we all know, the bridge, Mayor Huntington said, was built in 1929 for Model A's and horse and buggy. And in 2008, when I got elected to office, the first thing that I did was meet with Representative Rick Graham and Judge Couch over in Kentucky, because they called up and said, hey, we need to keep this conversation going about what's the bridge, because we need a bridge project. It was going on. Mayor Huntington met with them, I know, over years and years, and we knew it was failing. But if we all remember back in 2008, the middle part of the economy started to tank on us, and we were worried about what was going to happen. Well, lo and behold, you know, we need a bridge, and location and population is very important. And the Louisville Bridge projects were coming into play, and Brent Spence Bridge up in Cincinnati was starting to come into play a little bit. But we needed a safe river crossing. So the talks went on, and that's what's so amazing about this community. Through this whole process of meeting after meeting in Trimble County, here in Madison, citizens getting together, finally we came together. Finally we came together and said, hey, we need a bridge. Because if you remember right, the Section 106 or Historic Preservation and National Park Service didn't want that bridge coming through the historic district. But concessions were made, and it developed into what we have today. We knew we had to have a safe river crossing. But going back, Mayor Courtney wanted me to talk a little bit about some of the challenges, and that was one challenge, that we needed a bridge. But a couple of things that I did do, I went up to Washington, D.C., met with Senator Lugar's office, met with Congressman Hill at the time, his office. The first time up, basically just to introduce myself, talk about Madison and what the economic impact would be if this bridge was ever closed. Because if anybody ever saw the infrastructure ratings on the bridge, it was going down pretty quick. And we were very lucky that it happened the way it did. But after meeting with those folks and expressing how important it was, I met with Governor Daniels in his office. Once the Tiger grants came available, if you remember right, the stimulus money became available because the federal government wanted to get workers back to work, and infrastructure projects and bridge projects and road projects. So the stimulus money came available, and the Tiger grants became available. So I met with Governor Daniels, and again, he knew he had been meeting with Mayor Huntington for years over the bridge and talking about that and how important it would be to Madison. So then I made arrangements to go back to D.C. and met with Senator Lugar's office. And quick story, after we met, and you know, we knew that it was going to be a state project between the two states as far as getting the stimulus money or the Tiger grant. It wasn't going to be up to Madison or Milton, because our population in Jefferson County and Trimble County wasn't going to weigh anything. But going up and meeting with Senator Lugar's office at the time, I remember after the meeting, one of the staffers came out and said, Mayor, said, good presentation, but you know that there are thousands of applications for these projects, and only 51 are going to be awarded for the $15 billion. And right then I started to realize, what are we going to do? How are we going to get this done? So at that time, of course, Barron Hill, the congressman in our district, was in office, and I went down and met with Barron and said, how can we get this done? How can we get our word out? And I said, what's the possibility of getting Secretary of Transportation, then Ray LaHood, to Madison to see what we've got? Because if they don't visually see this bridge and Madison, the beauty that we have, and being one of the largest historic landmark districts in the country, how it would impact us, you know, we're going to fall behind the Louisville bridges or Brent Spence and some of these other projects. So he said, let me talk to Ray LaHood and see what he says. A couple weeks later, he called me and said, yeah, he's going to come. So I let it go a couple weeks. I'm driving back from Indianapolis one day. It was a Wednesday afternoon from a meeting. I got to about Columbus, and I get a phone call from Barron Hill. And he said, hey, we got a change of plans. He said, Secretary LaHood's going to go to Jeffersonville. They got an issue with the Louisville bridges. That's when they couldn't decide on the tunnel placement. And he says he's going to meet with them down there, but he wants you to come there. I said, okay, I understand. Population, politics, money, okay, I'll go there. So the more I rode, about 15 minutes down the road, I it started bothering me, thinking that, you know, we're going to be dead in the water because unless somebody sees what we see. So I called Congressman Hill back and said, you know, I understand, but this is how important it is to this community, because without a bridge, without a safe river crossing, economically it would kill our downtown. It would just devastate Madison, Jefferson County. So he said, let me see what I can do. A couple days later, he calls me back and said he's going to come. And lo and behold, when he came to City Hall that afternoon, and I remember driving across the bridge with him, he had an SUV and he had one of his staffers driving it. If you remember the old bridge, when he got to the base of it, and it jutted out to the left a little bit where the original toll booth was for it, she stopped. Just came to a dead stop right there because there was a car coming across. Not a truck, because there was a weight limit and trucks couldn't cross the bridge anymore, but she just stopped. So after the cars passed, she drove on, and we got about halfway across. He turned around and he said, I see what you mean. From then on, the states took over. You know, the state of Indiana and Kentucky, Commonwealth Kentucky, were awarded the Tiger grant for the $20 million, and it kind of boosted the state governments to get together and make sure it came to fruition. But after that, you know, it's history. We got the bridge. I got out of office. Mayor Welch beat me in an election in 2012. He took office in 2011, he continued this. There were like, I think, 9 or 10 different options. He took the best option there was and has carried it on to where we are today. It's just a great moment, and the only sad part about it is he's not here with us to share it, but I'm sure he's up there looking down on us, smiling and knowing that it's been completed. So anyway, thank you guys for having me today. It's been an honor. Have a good day.
Right now we're going to organize behind the line over there for the ribbon cutting. And we're going to do it right here. And while we're getting that organized, I just want to reemphasize that major capital infrastructure projects like this sometimes takes decades and vision and leadership. And I'm grateful for all the work of my predecessors, Mayor Welch, Mayor Armstrong, Mayor Huntington, and all of those leaders that came before them, to have what we have here today, which is an exceptional quality of life in Madison, Indiana, and it's just going to get better. So thank you everybody for attending today.